It is time for Flames Unfiltered, hosted by Burud, Kyle Lewis, talking Flames hockey on a super, super important day and jam-packed, busy week for Calgary Flames fans as we went through the awards, the draft, free agency, a trade. Did I forget anything, Kyle?
Well, it's a huge day because it's Canada Day. You forgot that.
I forgot that. That's an important day.
Yeah. No, I think that covers it. So, yeah, we got a lot to talk about. It's almost too compressed, really. It was difficult to plan this show because it's like as soon as we were, gung ho to do it, it's like, well, we still have to wait for this to happen or that to happen, right?
So let's stick a knife in their throat right now. I've got a bone to pick with the NHL. I've got a bone to pick. Like, we could literally, this show should be 3 shows.
Oof, that's nothing compared to the bone that most people have to pick right now.
But I got a bone to pick. When the Stanley Cup final was a week ago tonight.
Yeah.
And then we went to the award show 3 nights later, the draft the next 2 nights, a day off in free agency. Come on, NHL, let's get it together here. This you can't do this. The league needs to figure out a way to start the season on September 15th, be done by June 5th, the awards around the 15th, the draft around the 20th, and free agency on the 1st.
It's generally how it used to be. And not so much the 15th of September, but I mean, like the cup final was done by the end of May, beginning of June, and everything was just kind of...
So I did a little research on this. You know what the difference is? It's the network. ESPN does not want to screw with football. They want us to start in October, and they would actually prefer late October.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt at all.
They do not want to screw with football, which in October you're still screwing with football. I don't understand. It's more college football and stuff. But like, right. I don't get it. You're going to have overlaps. They've got NBA basketball on ESPN coming up now. You're going to have overlaps. Come on. It's not like you don't bury hockey anyways. Like, give me a break.
Well, no kidding.
So
no kidding, especially stateside for you fellas.
I think the league needs to put their foot down and say, no, we're starting the season September 15th. Camp opens on the 1st, regular season's on the 15th. We're out of here by June 5th. It's hard watching games at the end of June.
Yep.
Let's get the fluff.
Really is.
Let's get the fluff out of the way. I got a few little things I want to talk about, and then we're going to get into the heart of this. So, does that sound okay?
Fire away.
Jerseys. I know you're a huge jersey guy. I love jerseys.
I got 2 on the way.
You do. You have an addiction. I love it, though. I love it. So that being said, the new Flames jerseys the new NHL jerseys minus 2 teams are from Fanatics right now.
Yep.
Fanatics to me is junk. Always has been. But from what I've heard is they're being made in Canada. They've taken advice from the players and that these will be the real deal. Time will tell, right?
Indeed it will.
I'm interested. I don't have a lot of faith, but I'm interested, right? The LA Kings. Did you see their new Kings jerseys?
Yeah, I heard more about them than I saw.
They look exactly like they did when Gretzky played. Same thing. I don't know what's different. The logo.
People clamoring for the yellow and purple was the big thing I was hearing.
I liked that. I wish they would go to that, but
that's just so distinct, right? And those are very royal colors. Make no mistake.
I don't know. I like the old. That reminds me of being a little kid getting my Marcel Dion or just I don't know, the old time hockey cards and I don't know. I don't mind them. I don't mind the new ones. Kevin Ball's going to wear number 7. Does that remind you of anybody?
One of the more prominent free agent defensemen that still hasn't signed anywhere, TJ Brody.
Yeah.
Is that who you're thinking?
Yeah. That's all I can think.
I'm a little surprised by that, but I suspect he'll land on his feet somewhere soon. I could see him signing Winnipeg, actually.
Yeah, that would. Yes, that's actually, yeah.
They've
lost. He must be asking for the moon.
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what's going on there, but he was like a healthy scratch in front of the playoffs. I found that hard to believe.
Yeah. He's kind of been a liability off and on his whole career, though.
Yeah, depending on the situation he's in, but we'll have to see what happens with him.
Savard to Toronto, did that upset you?
Yes, it did.
Why?
Because I wish he had hung around for another season in Calgary.
Yeah.
But he'll have fun with all the toys in Toronto, so good for him.
Yeah. He's definitely got some toys there. Now, if his power play sucks next year, it's him.
Yeah, yeah, true. Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
That 100%.
He's got no talent excuse. Not that he ever pulled excuses. I will give him that. I never heard him pull an excuse here in Calgary. Even though he had a boatload. I could have texted him excuses every night.
Yeah, could have tweeted at him, no problem at all. But no, he made the most of it. I mean, good for him.
What did you think of the Stanley Cup Finals?
Pretty good, actually. I started to check out. Well, I mean, it was too late for me, like not in terms of time, but like in the end of the season. I really, as we just talked about, I don't like it dragging on so late. So I struggled a bit, but I enjoyed the Oilers coming back. Made it for a very competitive series.
I hated the NBA format.
Yeah.
Friggin' 2-3 days between games. Come on.
Well, it was the most amount of travel between cities ever in a cup final, so I kind of understood it, but it still drug on far too long.
Far too long.
And Game 7 was, yeah.
You didn't like Game 7? I loved it.
Maybe by then I was just done with it. I don't know.
You know what I've also found too, when it's two teams that you don't really care about so much, a lot of times it's what's happening in your life dictates if you're going to have fun watching that game.
Yeah, if I had nothing going on, I might have enjoyed it more. But
yeah, but it's hard. It's hard on a Monday night when you're busy and then you got a holiday week coming up and you got just it's just a busy time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was a good game though. I'm super happy the Oilers lost. You can call me petty, whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm glad the Oilers did not win a cup because I would not like hearing about that. Conn Smythe to McDavid, he didn't go out and get the award. I want to throw a suggestion out to the league, and I hope they listen to me. Whether you give that award to somebody on the opposing team or the cup-winning team, they're not really excited to get that award at that moment, right? They want the cup, right? Yep. And if you lost, you surely don't want to come out there. And I don't fault McDavid for not coming out. I really don't.
No, I don't either.
But here's the deal. Why not give that award at the award show?
I guess it was always just considered to be part of the spectacle, right? Before the cup presentation.
But I know, and I understand what you're saying, but isn't it quite forgotten though, too? Like you see players come out and get it and they're just like, hold it for a second. And then they're just like, screw this. Let's go. Everybody wants the cup. The cup's coming. We want the cup.
Yeah. It's an individual award. So it should be awarded with all the rest of them.
Yeah. What was your thought on Kachuk's comments about, shout out to all my fans in Calgary. I couldn't let Edmonton win. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, it was classy. It was a nice throwback. I mean, people often forget, and I certainly have at times, that he facilitated that trade to the sign and trade with Florida, right? So it was never his intention to hang the Flames out to dry. So that was nice to hear. Yeah,
I mean, I'm sad he left. I'm frustrated a little bit with him that he left.
Yeah,
but he was a class act. He was fun to watch. He was good. I mean, he was a good guy to watch in that series, and it was hard not to root for him, right?
Yeah, a buddy of mine had texted me and asked me like, how did I cheer for Tkachuk and he was a Flame? And it's the same thing you can say about Marchand or any of those guys. Like when they're on your team, it's super easy to cheer for them. Super easy.
Yeah.
When they play elsewhere, you hate them, right?
I will say my favorite part of the Stanley Cup Finals by a mile was Paul Maurice's post game.
Yeah, it was great.
I loved I've never hugged so many sweaty men in my life, and I don't know if I'll ever do that again comment. I loved when he was talking about his father and naming off all the stars, and his father and their last name going to be next to those stars. It was just unreal. And then it blew my mind and gave me so much happiness to hear him say, if he had one more wish, it would be that Winnipeg wins the cup.
Did he say that?
If I could have one more wish, it would be for the Winnipeg Jets to win this cup next year.
Wow.
And I was like, holy cow. Now, Maurice has been one of my favorite coaches, along with, I'm a Hitchcock guy. I like, there's a number of coaches. I'm a Sutter guy. Yeah, you can yell at me. There's a whole bunch of guys that I'm really big fans of. Bruce Boudreau. But Paul Maurice is up in my top 3.
Right.
And I love his passion. I love how much he cares, and seeing him kind of break down and the reality of that his name's going on the cup. Oh, it was something special to watch that night. It was something special.
Yeah, that really was. Always been a fan of his as well.
2 more topics, and then it's free to go wherever we want to go on this show. NHL awards. I don't know. Did you watch the NHL awards?
Never do anymore. Couldn't care less about it.
I've been to the NHL awards as a media member like 6 or 7 times, 8 times. I don't know. I got the things hanging right here. I love it. I love the awards, right? But I don't love the show. That's the goofy thing of this.
Yeah, the TV presentation is what turns me off.
But the fact that they had Matt Friend, who I don't even know who this guy is. Did you know who that? I didn't even know who the host was.
No.
He was horrible in his stupid skits and his dumb comedy and the way he put players, like especially Kucherov. I thought he was going to.
Yeah, I saw the Kucherov bit. That was agonizing. Agonizing.
The McKinnon one was just as agonizing. Like, come on, can we just frickin' take this along with your All-Star game and frickin' throw it in the trash?
Yeah, I wish. I still think they should name All-Star teams, but that's as far as that should go.
Speaking of All-Star teams, they did name the All-Rookie team and Connor Zary 5th in voting for forwards. I didn't think that was too bad.
No, not at all. No, I'm curious to see where he would have landed if he hadn't been hurt.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
So yeah, one other thing before we get into the guts of it. What was it?
Let's talk about the Mangiapane trade, just because that happened pre-draft and pre-free agency. And then we can go into draft probably next. We'll keep it in order.
Yeah.
How it happened. Okay. Mangiapane gets dealt. What day was that? What the hell day did that happen? Saturday?
I think it was last Saturday, yeah.
No, the draft was Friday and Saturday. I am so screwed up on my days, damn.
Oh, that would have been Thursday?
Wednesday. What day?
Wednesday.
What day was the 27th? What day was the 27th? I can't.
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. Thursday night, he gets dealt. In return, we get a 25 second round pick. No cap retained. He's gone.
Yeah.
Now we've talked about this on the show. We've touched on it.
And you actually, in your response when we were texting about it, like, I think you're under the impression he's making a bit less money than he actually was. He was at 5.8.
I thought 4.8. I thought it was what I thought it was. And I thought, hell yeah, get that off the book. And then you corrected me and said, no, Brad, it's 5.8. I'm like, oh, does he need me to drive him to the airport? Like, I mean, I hate getting rid of people that I've never been a Mangiapane fan up until last year. He kind of frustrated me. But I always cheered for this guy and the reason I cheered for him is because I love his story. And number 2, I love how hard he works. And even when he struggled in the last 2 years, he still worked hard, right? So
very much so. Yeah.
A lot of times I would give him a pass for that. But the nuts and bolts, when we look at this deal, right? We weren't going to re-sign him at that dollar amount because we would have been idiots to do that, right?
100%.
So we would have to trade him at come trade deadline this year, which you just don't know, right? Well, now we get a second rounder for it. So basically, we turned a 6th round pick, who we got 400 NHL games out of, for a second rounder. That's asset management to me.
100% it is. Plus, I think there's something to be said for moving on from players after, that roster's window of contention is closed, right? I didn't see him fitting, any longer in Calgary.
No, I didn't either. He's everything we don't need. Like right now, we need scoring. We need skill. We just need skill.
Yep.
We need young skill.
Curious to see how he does in Washington, though. Very curious to see.
Boy, Washington's done a ton the last week. Holy moly.
Yeah.
It's going to be
not all of it good.
No, not all of it good. Some good, some not so good.
Yeah, I don't mind the Logan Thompson pickup, but the Pierre-Luc Dubois thing, I wouldn't touch that with 10 football.
Gun to head.
Yeah.
I think they picked up. Yeah, if I say Andrew Mangiapane to you, what's your biggest memory?
Game 5 goal against Dallas.
Could you have? Here's the kicker. Do you have another one?
Yeah, Game 1 against Colorado, 2019 playoffs.
Okay.
From his knees. Because at that moment, that's when I really believed that, holy shit, we might actually beat Colorado, and my God, was I wrong.
You're not wrong very often, are you, Kyle?
Well, you could ask my girlfriend about that, but again, I digress.
Oh, jeez. I'm hard on you tonight, aren't I?
No more than anybody else. No more than I am myself. I'm my own worst enemy. So you just keep plucking away.
I gotta take free shots at you because I got my own things I could take shots at myself for. But all right, let's talk draft before we get to the exciting free agency. Although the draft was fairly exciting for the Flames. Now, I cannot remember a year where the Flames picked. How many guys did we pick? 3, 4,
like 9. I want to
did we
say
pick 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys. We traded down and got another one.
Yeah.
Let's run through them in order, or what do you want to do?
Well, talk about it thematically first, I guess. On paper, as of now, the most successful draft they've probably ever had. I mean, they got guys that shouldn't have still been available by many people's estimations. But yeah, I mean, the Tija Ginla thing was a little sad on a emotional note, but still, they had a hell of a haul.
I think it's important we talk about that because the fan base really that was a big point, and we talked about it leading up to the draft, and I think we need to touch on that, and I think we need to fire off our own thoughts on that. When Utah did select Tija Ginla, what was your first reaction?
I was disappointed at the missed marketing opportunity, among other things. You know, and that is a factor, no matter how you want to slice it. But I mean, I also think he's a very good player. But I wasn't like torn up over. I was like, God damn it, I would have liked to have had him and move on, right?
My reaction completely. I was like, oh, in a couple of reasons. I love NHL pedigrees. I love players that come from NHL pedigrees. I feel like that's a hidden secret, right? It's a bonus, right? I love that. I think he's a good kid. I think he's a hardworking kid that had huge potential, right? And I love the marketing idea of it. If we would have got him at 9, I'd have been ecstatic.
Yeah.
But trading up for him and giving away a bunch of stuff and sacrificing other plans just to get him would have been a mistake for this organization.
Yeah, it wouldn't have made sense.
Where we're at right now.
The biggest shame of it all, honestly, is him having to pull over that stupid fucking Utah jersey.
Yeah, I don't like this. It sounds professional women's hockey. You need to get a name. Come on. I could have come up with a name. Sit me down with a case of beer. I got a name.
The funny thing is the Coyotes did it in summer of 96 and they moved from Winnipeg. They had jerseys down and logos and everything.
Yeah.
And that was 30 years ago. So
I know what they're going to be named. I will bet you money it's the Yetis, and I think it's all right being the Yetis. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Wait, is that plural? Is it Yetis or Yeti? It's like deer.
You're right. It's Yeti.
Is it
Yetis? I don't think it's.
I don't actually know, but anyway.
I don't actually know either, but I don't know. I think it's a Yeti.
So, in terms of these picks, what was your feeling on? Well, we now have the 2 highest scoring defensemen from the OHL last season.
We do.
Hunter Petrovic and Zane Perrick. So what was your thoughts on that pick?
I'm going to be completely honest, and I'll probably take some flack for this. I didn't like it.
How come?
God, this guy's going to be our best guy too. I'm going to look like such a jackwagon for saying this. Because I don't know. I'm not a huge draft guy. Okay. I think they're a crapshoot. But when I saw the name come up, I'm like, oh, offensive defenseman with defensive liabilities. When you're trying to rebuild, the number one thing to probably put yourself in position to do is to make sure you get a good, strong, stable defenseman. And we may have got that later on in the draft, and we'll talk about that in a second. But then I also flip-flopped my thoughts on this too and thought you can find stable, strong, defending defensemen easier than you can find offensive superstar creating defensemen. Well, so I'm back and forth on this. I think he's going to work out just fine. My positive is this. I'm fairly certain either Bruskevich or this pick will be our offensive defenseman that we need to grow with over the years.
Yeah, I would suspect so as well. But I also, try to keep in mind that defense is largely the last skill that offensive-minded defensemen learn as they come up through the ranks, right? The last skill that they really hone. Jeremy Poirier is another example of that. So there's still lots of runway for this guy to figure it out, but a very exciting pick. And realistically, that's kind of what the point. I mean, without getting into the details in every single one of them, we can bounce around however you want to do it. But every pick was a good pick, and the one that excited me the most in terms of where we were able to grab him was Andrew Basha.
He was our third pick. Don't know. I don't know a ton about him, but what I've read, he's a great skater and manages the puck really well.
Yep, good at finding open ice. Diehard Flames fan as a kid, which is always kind of cool to see. Great. Plays a lot of
taking trips up to Brandon this year to watch, though.
Nice,
because I believe he'll be going back to Medicine Hat. So,
yeah.
That being said, I will be up to watch him.
Yeah, 30 goals and 55 assists, 85 points in 63 games, and 3 goals, 2 assists in 5 playoff games. So.
Now, our second pick, Gridden, the big forward from Muskegon.
Yeah.
I've seen him play live.
Yeah, and thoughts?
He's a big winger. I like his scoring touch. He had a goal the night I was there. I like this pick. I really like this pick.
Well, you would know. I mean, I've never seen him play. I knew a little bit about him, but I mean, work ethic seems to be there, plays a heavier style of game, and he's got all the makings of everyday NHLer, which may sound cliche, but I mean, for his age, a lot of scouts seem to, have a very high opinion of him projecting as a pro.
60 games last year in Muskegon, 38 goals, 45 assists, 83 points. I don't know. I got high hopes for this guy. I really do.
Goal and 4 assists in 8 playoff games as well. So
it's going to take some time. He's not a guy, he's kind of like another prospect we have, Cade Littler. A project, but I really like what Littler brings to the table too with the big body, and his release. So we'll see what happens there. But both those guys are guys that will definitely have huge upsides, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, all these project to be pretty damn good picks. It was a very deep draft after all, and a lot of skill, which was the order of the day for the Flames. Luke Misa was the other one in the 5th round. 26 goals, 55 assists in 66 games.
We skipped rounds here.
I'm just jumping around a bit to the ones that, just being blown away by how we were able to get some of these guys so late, right?
Now, what I know about him is he's a speedster and gets about a breakaway a game, is what I've heard.
Well, he's 5'10", 175, so he's pretty well going to have to be fast to make it, right?
Mm-hmm. Have you seen him play?
I haven't, no. In fact, I don't think, I'm just checking here now. No, none of these actually, kind of rare, but none of these guys play in the Quebec League where I would see them play. They're all OHL, WHL, and other ranks outside of Canadian junior hockey. So,
yeah. In the second round, 62nd, we take Jacob Battaglia. He's projected, from what I've read, to be a middle 6 scoring threat. 65 points in 67 games last year.
I expected him to be related to Bates Battaglia, but I don't believe that's the case.
It's funny you throw that name out, because that's what I called him Bates Battaglia the other day too, when I was talking to somebody else. So it's interesting. 3rd round, 74th, Henry Muse. Okay, what do you know about this guy?
Not a whole hell of a lot, honestly. I mean, average size, good mobility. Seemed like he may have slipped a bit.
He did. Now from what I've read, he's an offensive defenseman who plays a risky style, but is also a physical player. But now I'm starting to look, and this brings us to our X factor this week. I'm starting to look at the amount of offensive defensemen when you look at our system, and do we need that to be a concern? Because I love this draft class, but is that a concern? And I'll pull up our X factor this week, and this one comes from cmpdave, Dave Dubbin 85. The Flames brought in older defensive stability, Ball, Grishnikov, and then made the choice to go back to fill high-end, younger skill behind it. Almost seems like a competent plan. I'm guessing that is the plan, is to up our offense on this team, right?
Well, on the skill level, I mean, just they wanted oodles and oodles of skill, and that's what they got. And I mean, just because they drafted these guys, because they're considered, highly touted, the best player available, doesn't mean we're going to keep them all, right? I suspect some of these guys will be moved in trades in years ahead.
Yeah, but I do agree with you, Kyle. By the way, thank you, Dave, for this week's X Factor. I do agree with you, Kyle, in the fact that, in the changing game that we have right now, and me and you have talked about this a lot, especially when we visited with Hunter on the show. The game's changing, and the outlook on defenses and the concept has changed a lot to that quick, get that puck moving and get up the ice with it and create offense, not just defend, but create offense. And we've seen, this year's Vezina Trophy winner with Quinn Hughes have huge success in Vancouver this year.
The Norris Trophy
style. Yes. What did I say?
You said Vezina.
Vancouver will probably, yeah.
But yeah, it's really important. I mean, transition games, everything now, with the game being as fast as it is. So, again, not knowing how all these guys are going to pan out or how many will actually end up eventually being Flames in the future, like, I don't think you could realistically ask for a better draft haul, especially considering how they were able to acquire some of these guys much later than they would have otherwise been anticipated to go. Like, it was a 5-star draft as far as I'm concerned.
Everything I saw was good, and I'm not a huge draft guy. I'm not a big prospect searcher.
Yeah, we got a bit of everything, right? We got a big Russian goalie.
What do you think of this guy? Do you know anything about that? I didn't know anything. He's
6'3", so I mean, by today's goalie standards, he's not huge, I guess. Which sounds funny to say.
6'4", but they lie, right? I saw 6'4", but they lie.
Yeah.
I saw that he has great lateral quickness, reads the play well through traffic, has a strong upside. I loved it when his numbers. Did you see his numbers last year?
Sparkling, yeah, like 1.99 GAA, I think it was.
Yep, 944 save percentage, 5 shutouts. I'm like,
yeah,
we'll take that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, and it's good. You got to take flyers on goalies. I mean, we don't want to pull a Rick DiPietro and draft one first overall or anything, right? Not that we had the choice, but I mean, goalies. If you see it's like when they signed David Rittich to the Czech Republic, or Czechia, like. You see that potential and think you can mold them with the right goaltending coach, with the right, tutor. I mean, take a chance on them, right?
Yeah, and you never know with goalies. They are the hardest. I watched a training camp this weekend, a prospects camp for our local junior team, and I was watching all the goalies there, and I was trying to determine, if I was a coach and I was picking my roster, but I was trying to figure out who the hell I would pick as a goalie. And I'm watching all these goalies, and I watched 3 scrimmage games, and I'm like, I have no idea. It's such a hard sport to predict how it's going to project out in gameplay over a season, right? And I think goaltending's
it's a crapshoot.
Tough one. It's a
always has been, always will be.
Yeah, it definitely is. What were your other thoughts on the draft?
Just that it couldn't have gone better. And I mean, it's funny. I saw a lot of people think Darren Haynes was one of them, who I often, quote on our show. He had said like something about it seemed like we're in the twilight zone because Flames Twitter was so positive. And I don't know what more you could realistically want out of that draft.
Well, other than Iginla, right? I mean, I think everything as far as the Flames fans went just unbelievable.
Yep. But in terms of quality of players drafted and everything, like pedigree, maybe more so is the better word. Like, you can't ask for more than that. You really can't.
A lot of connections to Calgary too. It was interesting.
Yeah, a ton.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
That draft also completed the Lindholm trade. Thank you very much, Vancouver. You got a few games out of Elias Lindholm. We get Kuzmenko, Bruskevich, Gridden, Misa, Yermo, and Jameson. Thank you.
Yeah, pretty wild, eh? And he just got fucking paid to go to the Bruins. So,
what was your thoughts on that?
Well, are we ready to get into free agency?
Let's do it. Let's roll into free agency.
Yeah, we're already half an hour deep, so why not? There probably hasn't been more of a match made in heaven in terms of center needs and a player than the Bruins and Lindholm.
I agree.
Although now he's probably going to have to wear an E on his jersey because, they've got Hampus Lindholm.
But I hate when players have to do that.
I know, but I mean, it's the cost of doing business, right? That's what I think Mike Johnson termed that today. It's like, yeah, it's a lot of money and a lot of term, but you want the player, you're going to pony up, and they did. And same thing with Zadorov. I mean, And did you hear what Zadorov said today after he signed?
I did not hear what Zadorov said. I'm sure it's enlightening.
It was funny. Everywhere I've played, I've been called Big Z. Don't call me Big Z ever again, out of respect for Zdeno Chara. Yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool comment. But I mean, the Bruins have been in like this competitive window for a number of years, and every time we thought they'd fall off because Bergeron retired or Krejci left or whatever, it's like they find a way to be competitive. And I think these are the types of moves that they had to make. So despite the dollar in turn being atrocious, and they'll be in cap hell like the Avalanche in a few years potentially, I like what they did. I thought they addressed two of their biggest needs. Nashville was hands down the winner. I mean, I thought their competitive window was closing, and they just jammed it wide open. Like, man, they're going to be lethal. That power play is going to be disgusting next year.
They every time I feel like I looked at the TV or opened Twitter this morning, it was like, and Nashville.
Yeah. Yeah. And Brady Shea, I mean, that gets overlooked too. He's a great defenseman. So there's a lot going on there. A lot.
Yeah. Flames started their day with qualifying offers to Klapka, Kuznetsov, Holkchuk. How do you say that? Is that right?
He signed to Russia anyway.
I know, but they still qualified him.
Yeah, why not? Retain his rights.
LCA, Schwint, Solovyov, and Wolf, right? Okay.
Yep.
We'll find out more what happens with that as we go. But we signed Anthony Mantha, 1 year, 3.5. Now, he's a guy we wanted about 4 years ago, isn't he?
Yep. And he's another one that said a lot of really encouraging things today. So Jonathan Huberdeau was the main reason I think that he decided to sign in Calgary. They were texting last night. They skated together in the summers along with Jacob Pelche the last 2 years. So there's a lot of rapport there, and the idea is, building something of a French connection, right? So
I like it.
I do too. He's going to score probably 20, maybe even 30, and be a piece at the deadline we can flip for a really nice return. So
this is a no-risk deal. Like, what is there to lose? It's 1 year.
No, it was. Yeah, there's no issue with it at all. And that's the thing. All of Conroy's moves were indicative of that way of thinking. So the Mantha signing is great. Questionable to a lot of people, but a year ago, as you might recall, I was really rooting for the Flames to sign Jake Bean. That didn't happen then, but it happened.
Did we talk about that on the show? We probably.
I thought we had, but I still think he has a lot of potential.
Enlighten me on this, because I see he didn't get a qualifying offer from Columbus, but yet we give him 2 years at 1.75. I'm like, could we not have got him for $1 million?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the dollar figure on it necessarily, but he's a good skater, makes a good first pass. He's had a little bit of injury trouble, although this year he played most games, I think 74 or something like that, but still considered relatively young with some upside, so I don't see it as a huge risk. I would have gone closer. I
don't either.
I would have gone 1 year realistically, but I mean, he's got a lot to prove coming back home, so we'll see how that pans out.
Anytime you get a guy that's young like this, though, that does have an upside, and you're only throwing like 2 years and it's under $2 million, like really, like, especially when we have boatloads of cap space now, and we're not tying up cap space for him. Like, yeah. It's like throwing a dart, right? And what if we hit good here? We've hit good before. I mean, I remember when we got Eric England. People weren't super excited about that.
No, not at all. Most people hated it at the time.
Yeah.
Also, as it relates to that, Conroy just said very recently, within the last hour, that the door is probably closed on Shillington returning. So I have no idea where he's going to go, but obviously they did something of a pivot to bring in some more depth with Jake Bean, and I think that he's going to take that spot if somebody else doesn't emerge in training camp.
Do you want to talk about the Shillington thing? And I'm frustrated.
Yeah. So. Well, and I knew you would be, because I know you've been pretty clear about this the entire time. I'm a little frustrated by it too. The argument is that
I saw some other tweets from Flames guys that are not, and I'm not talking fans. And here's why. Here, I'm going to voice my opinion, and we can. Do I think that the Flames should do right by the players? Absolutely, I do. I think any business should. I think anybody should, right?
Yeah.
But the part that's got me a little bent on this is that we stepped back, gave him all the time he needed, which is what we should have done, right?
Yeah.
But we are also writing checks to him and sending him checks, which is fine. And I'm not saying that he owes us $1 million deal because of that. But more so what frustrates me is when we approached free agency last year, we could have dealt him. and got an asset. But instead we said, you know what? We don't know where he's at in his life, and we want to re-sign him, and we want to do right by him. So we're going to hang on to him. And then all of a sudden, when it comes to free agency time, all of a sudden money's important then. And unless we were throwing a god-awful, horrible lowball deal, which I don't know, maybe it was happening, I don't know. But if we were throwing him a fair deal and he didn't take it, that's where I'm frustrated. We did him right, and I'm proud to be a Flames fan because I want to be a fan of an organization that did him right.
Yeah.
But at some point in Calgary, we need to take a look here, though, because I look and I go, what would Vegas have done?
Well, I don't think anybody in the right conscience would have handled it any differently.
But we need to look out for what's best for the organization too. And I'm not saying you throw people that are having difficulties under the bus for that. No, I'm not saying that. But we should have said last year, free agency's coming, our trade deadline's coming in 3 weeks. We need an answer from you in a week. Here's our offer. Let's negotiate now.
Yeah.
And if we don't have an offer, we're dealing you because we don't want to deal you. But this is a business, and you're treating it like a business. We're going to treat it like a business too. And
yeah,
a little frustrated.
The only thing I didn't like is that they were apparently a little bit apart on dollars, and I don't think Shillington had a leg to stand on in terms of salary demands. A 1 year prove it deal for the same amount of money should have been the only offer on the table, and I kind of gathered that might have been what it was. So for that reason, if he felt he could get paid somewhere else, more power to him. But
But we did right by you. Are you going to do right by us? No, I don't think so.
Didn't look that way. But again, it's a business, so I mean, it's disappointing. But
you say something there too, and this is my last comment. And I've always been a huge Oliver Shillington fan. I probably always will be. And I'm like I said, I'm proud of the way the team handled it. But name me one other business in Canada that pays somebody for 2 years of mental health leave. It's scary to me. Like,
well, did the team pay it though, or did insurance pay it?
I don't know. I don't know. But what happens when more? I mean, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't even speak on that because I really don't know if insurance paid it or what. And then that very well could be the case. But all I'm saying is I felt like the team did him right. And I guess we'll find out by the offers, right?
Yeah.
If he did us right. And you know what? I think when this is all said and done, you know what I think the most important thing is? Whether the Flames got screwed or whatever, is that I think everybody in Flames management, unlike maybe like the Blackhawks, we can go to bed at night and sleep good knowing that we did right by one of our prospects.
Yeah,
right?
or players in this case, yeah.
Let's hope that reaps us rewards in the backside somewhere along the line.
Well, I mean, the good news is it's an opportunity for whether it's Jake Bean or somebody else, whether Jeremy Porte or somebody else who might emerge in training camp. I mean, it's an opening for somebody, and it's cap space. I mean, it's already pretty well been allocated elsewhere in terms of the Bean signing, and probably the funnest one of the day for the Flames, Ryan Lomberg coming back.
Okay, do you like this?
I think it's hilarious, and I do like it because the guy's a total wrecking ball. Him and Pospisil could be a blast to watch. I'm excited to watch him. Don't get me wrong. But he was the only thing when I look at the list of things that happened today, he was the only thing that I thought, that's a slight deviation from the plan. Well, AJ Greer left and signed. Where did Greer sign?
Did AJ Greer sign? I didn't.
Yeah, he did. He did. I just saw it not long ago. I'll look it up here. But I mean, it was a slight overpay. But I mean, the guy has a cup ring now, which whether we like it or we don't, it's considered an intangible.
I don't care about what he paid. I don't think the pay's that bad. I mean, yeah, it's $2 million for a fourth liner, but I love what he brings, right? And I hated when he left.
Oh yeah. Doug Greer went to the Panthers.
No, jeez.
Yeah, so basically swap places. Yeah.
How much did he get?
I don't know if I saw that part actually. What did he receive? AJ Greer.
I'm looking too.
2-year contract. 1.7 million, so average AAV of 850.
Wow, he got more than I thought he would.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him.
He was good. I liked him. He was good.
So there was him, the Lomberg thing, which is really cool.
So do you think? So does? Here's my only fear when I saw the Lomberg thing. Geez, does he take a spot from a young kid?
No, because Greer left. If you look at the depth chart, I don't really feel that he does.
Fair point. Fair point.
Yeah, I don't think at this point anyway. Then we had Devin Cooley, noted quote machine, Devin Cooley.
I like it. I like this one. Makes sense.
I don't really know what he is. I mean, I suspect he's going to be with the Wranglers the vast majority. I mean, I know he has a one-way deal in year 2, but I'm not sure what his ceiling is. But
Vladar's gone, right?
Yeah.
So if Vladar proves his worth and we keep him in Calgary, then Devin Cooley's just bury him in the minors.
You know what's funny is that on TSN today, and God knows I've seen pretty much all of it, they were ranking Canadian teams' goaltending, and of course, the Jets got an A, and then they signed Kakkonen, so that really solidified it behind Hellebuck. The Canucks got an A, of course, the Demko and Seelovs and everybody there. The Canadians was like a B because it hasn't changed. The Leafs was like a B. Ottawa was like some B.
Leafs was a B.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Well, they have a lot of faith in Stolarz as a backup, and then they have a lot of potential Wolves. So they're saying like it probably a B. The Oilers probably a B. The Senators maybe an A because of Allmark, but more likely a B. They didn't even talk about the Flames. Didn't say a goddamn word about them.
I think the goaltending in Canada's teams is the only one that I feel really good too, I guess, is Vancouver and Winnipeg. I think all the rest of them are suspect.
Maybe Ottawa.
Not Ottawa anymore. Ottawa I feel comfortable with.
Well, and they've also revamped their D a bit too. Nick Jensen's a good pickup. And Jacob Chikrin wasn't really panning out there. So that's that.
Oh man. They don't even mention the Flames. And you know what? It is we are rolling the dice, but isn't this the best time to roll the dice, right? I mean,
yeah, and I mean you can't rank them. Who the hell knows what we're gonna get, right? Who the hell knows?
We have no idea. We hope, we pray. We've seen great things from Wolf. We just hope that pans out, right?
Exactly. So the big signing of the day, I don't think either of us or anybody really saw coming, was the Igor Sharangovich extension. What were your thoughts on that?
Did not see that coming today, but I thought 5 years, was it 5.25, right?
Yep.
7.5.
7.5, yeah. 7.5.
I feel really good with that. I feel real comfortable with that.
Yep. Great penalty killer. Got a lethal shot. Not an immovable contract by any stretch. In fact, it's quite cost control when you really think about what he brings to the table. So I liked it. Conroy is, and it's funny to see, like, I know they're different franchises, different points, but like watching Tree Living, hand out a deal that takes Chris Tanev till he's 40. Chris Tanev's body won't last till 40, right? But you see Conroy's predecessor doing the things he always did in Calgary. And then you see Conroy doing the exact things we need to do. And it's like, oh man, I'm so glad this played out the way it did.
Yeah, I gotta. I was always a Tree Living fan. I
was too. I really was. But I mean, I was a little less enamored with his handling of some things in hindsight.
Yes, me too.
But I mean, he's just.
What do you mean?
Yeah, and Toronto, he just keeps trying to plug holes with guys. That, I mean, you can't give Chris Tanev that kind of term. It makes no sense. Like you just can't.
He's in like desperation GM mode though right now.
Yeah,
they gotta win. He's like, oh, I'm gonna throw the darts this is either gonna be golden for me or I'm gonna get fired. And I think that's his approach right now.
Well, I mean, based on where they're at in terms of that competitive window, it's gonna make some tough decisions.
I do hope, going back to Sharangovich, I do hope they play him on the wing though. I liked him a lot better on the wing, and I think he's a lot more effective on the wing. But yeah,
he showed well at center, but I don't find his frame conducive to long-term center material necessarily. But I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of questions around this team at center. I mean, apart from Kadri and Backlund, I mean, I guess Kevin Rooney in that fourth spot, but it's interesting. And I think Conroy mentioned today about maybe trying Pospisil at center. I'm not sure how I see that either, but
you know what this team needs to do for center? You know what they need to do? Conroy needs to get on the phone and call Ottawa.
Oh, Shane Pinto. Yeah, you're such a Pinto guy. I forgot about that.
You need to go get him. The
problem, I think, or potential problem there is that Ottawa is very much in a we need to win now mode. So I'm not sure what that trade would look like.
Yeah, Pinto asked for a trade.
So, yeah, but what does Calgary have that Ottawa wants? Is my question.
I'm sure there's a roster play I'd be happy to give.
Blake Coleman?
Yeah. Yep. Right there.
Although Ottawa's near the They saved some money in that Pickard deal, but yeah. Oh, and I do too. And he's
looking for the future. We do not have in our prospect pool a big, strong center that's going to take a number one role. And I'm not saying Shane Pinto is a lock for a number one center role. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, though, at his age of 23, we have a hell of a good chance, right? We got a better chance than we got right now. We don't have nobody.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I know it's possible. I mean, Blake Coleman is exactly the type of player that contending teams would covet. And especially after Ottawa just signed Dave Perron, trying to add to the leadership. Like that, like we talked about this last season, like the Senators should be so much better than they are, and eventually they got to turn a corner, you would think, and I got to believe it's going to be this season.
Get on the phone, Craig Conroy. Pinto wants out.
Hey, you know what, man? Have faith, because he's been doing everything else right so far, that as far as I'm concerned anyway.
Oh, man, when I'd be so happy. Oh my God, I'd be happy. One other one we didn't touch on, very minor. Martin Ferk, $775,000 1-year deal.
Yeah, apparently he has an absolutely lethal slap shot, like 109 miles per hour or something.
Better than Stones?
It's not as accurate as Stones. That's the problem.
Oh, we solved. I think, we're recording the show late afternoon on free agency Monday. I think we're done, don't you think? The only thing we're waiting to kind of see is what happens with Shillington. I mean, I'm not totally closing the book on it. I see stuff on Twitter that it looks like we probably should. We'll see what happens there.
Well, yeah, I think it'll be maybe some tweaking with the Wranglers roster, as there often is in the dog days of summer, but nothing really notable. I could still see a trade or two happening, though. I'm just not sure what that looks like. And I've heard about like Nazem Kadri of late, that he actually is kind of enjoying the mentorship role.
Yeah, I did hear Kadri rumblings this week, which surprised me a little bit.
Well, I just think because of his at one point he did say he didn't sign there to be a part of rebuild. Well, of course he didn't, right?
Who the hell says they did? Do you know any veteran player that's like, you know what, I'm going to sign. I'm a rebuild expert. Skinner, we could go get Skinner. He's a rebuild expert.
Hey, he could be had real cheap now. He just got fucking paid.
Did he get paid? No, he got bought out. Well, he got bought out. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Yeah. Like you get it's all gravy now. I mean, I heard the others were looking at him, but I mean, he'd score 40 again on a line with David for sure. But still those interest and again, TJ Brodie, like there's a few guys who are just floating around up there. It's like I wonder where they're going to land.
Would you be upset if TJ Brodie signed here?
If it was cheap enough, no, he'd be a good.
It would be cheap enough though, right? Because I mean, if he was going to get big money, he'd be signed already, right? I mean,
but he'd have to wear 66 because 7's already taken by Kevin Ball.
Why did you say 66? Is that what he wore in camp his first year?
Remember we talked about that? Yeah, that was his training camp.
It just came to me.
Yeah, the pride of Chatham, Ontario.
Oh,
yeah.
There's a couple other defensemen though that I would be fine if we took. Like veteran guys would be like, hey, I was actually, I was open to bringing Monahan back at a 2-year, 3-year deal.
Man, what a story. I mean, good for him. And I was going to mention that too. I'm glad you brought it up, but good for him and John to get a chance to play together again. But man, what a revelation that guy is. He went from being like, we gave away a first-round pick to get rid of him to he's now back making over $5 million a season.
You think Huler comes out of retirement?
No, he's too busy doing blow somewhere, I think.
Oh God!
On an airplane, as I recall, is his preference.
I wonder though what I wonder how that works. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Monahan and Gaudreau will find success again. I guess I'm cheering.
I think they will. There's so much.
I like both. I really have a soft spot for Monahan. He went through so many injuries in Calgary. I was such a big fan of him.
Well, I met his father John was a great guy. When I met a bunch of the Flames, Monahan was by far the most engaging and polite. Like he was a great guy.
Yeah, he had a jersey of his. I like him. Another thing that we can talk about before we go here today, the NHL their timing is just impeccable. Right when free agency is heating up. We got 46 guys signing. Let's drop opening day games schedule.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to. I thought you were going to talk about the reinstatements.
Oh yeah, that too. They did reinstate the Chicago Clan today, which whatever.
So but they announce it on the day everybody's paying attention to hockey. Like, God, they're.
I know they could have done that like 3 weeks from now, right?
Yeah.
I'm fine with letting them back in, but let's not advertise it, okay?
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it honestly, but I'll leave that discussion for another day. I'm curious to see their comments when they get hired places because you know damn well they will.
I wish, and here's one of the things, and it's kind of like the Shillington thing. Like, I wish I knew more details so that I could validate my own opinion.
Right.
Because I have my opinions on the Shillington thing, but I could be way off base and look like such a jackass because I don't know all of the facts. And the same with the Chicago thing. Like, I'm okay with them coming back. I don't know the details. I really don't know. I wasn't there. Like, I don't know. All we know is speculation, right? We only think the worst.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, but I do agree. Don't just put that in the news like 3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
And when you're going to,
I think the idea was to try and hide it. And now that I talk about it, but anyway,
well, it could be too. But then the home openers, they throw that schedule out like right in the middle of free agency. Like, what are we doing? Like, can't that be the news on July 9th?
You'd think, eh?
God. I don't know. But anyways, Calgary opens up at home against Philadelphia. I did do some little research. It looks like Calgary's first game will be in Vancouver on the 9th of October.
Against the Jake DeBrusk-led Vancouver Canucks.
7-year Jake DeBrusk, right? They gave him 7.
Yeah, good for him. He'll be a good fit there.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Preseason schedule came out. That's 8 games. Seattle twice, Edmonton twice, Vancouver twice, Winnipeg twice. Young Stars go to Penticton in September 13th to 16th. And then I think Prospects Camp, I think opens up this week, I believe. I haven't pulled up the Flames media schedule. I can do that right now. And I believe that
it all is.
It's what?
So based on how compressed it all is, it would make sense. Did you happen to see while you're looking that up about the Avalanche, like their cap situation, how bad it is?
I have not. Enlightened me.
So they have 11 forwards, including Landeskog and Nichushkin, 5 defensemen, and 2 goaltenders, leaving them with $300,000 in cap space. Right?
You know what's funny? 2 years ago, we were wondering how we were going to manage the cap. Now we have $30 million.
Yep. Crazy, eh?
Gosh, isn't it crazy how quick things change?
Well, it doesn't usually change that quick. So again, props to Conroy for getting her done.
Conroy's done a lot. The dude's been busy.
Yeah, very much so. Very, very much so.
Well, before we roll, I want to throw a shout out to some people who just followed us on Facebook now. We got Brody Laranger, Larry Lewis, Troy Dukes.
Larry Lewis, that's my old man.
Yeah? Is that your dad?
Yeah.
Look at that. That's a charity pickup, huh?
Yeah. We'll take it.
Ian Cheyenne. We got all kinds of them this week. That's good. We always talk about X. Thought I'd throw the Facebook part of it out too. So
yeah, it's fantastic.
It's awesome. But thanks everybody for following us. You're going to see us on all of the socials as the summer goes. We got 2 more shows left this summer. We'll do one the second week of July, the 17th to 18th. We'll also do one later in August, around the 21st, 22nd. And then it's time to reboot and start season 6 of the show in September. Anything happens in the meantime, Kyle and I will check in maybe with a short episode, or we'll do a Flames Unfiltered short, just to fill you in on some news if it happens. And if we sign somebody else, I'll hop on and do a Flames Unfiltered short. So we'll be around. We will be around. What do you got planned for the rest of the weekend? It's on a weekend.
Well,
go back to tomorrow. We have the 4th of July on Thursday, so then our weekend's holidays. So
on Thursdays, we off Friday too?
Yeah, most people don't work. I am going to work Friday and Saturday this week because I got a bunch of guys on vacation. But normally I would be off. But yeah, I am going to work. But yeah, Thursdays are 4th, so a lot of things are closed Friday, Saturday, Sundays.
Cool.
Back to the grind on Monday.
Okay, man. Well, you enjoy that. We'll be in touch in the meantime, and yeah, we'll be back. back with Flames soon, much sooner than later, because it just never seems done lately.
It was fun talking. We had a lot to talk about today, and I was wondering how we were going to keep it under an hour, and you know what, Cal? We did. We kept it under an hour. I feel like that's a win.
Just barely. Just barely.
All right, Flames fans, enjoy your summer. Hopefully more Flames good news, and it is going to be, wow, is it going to be an interesting training camp this year? It is going to be great. Enjoy your summer, relax with friends and family, and always be careful, be safe, and enjoy some quiet time away from hockey.
Thanks for listening to Flames Unfiltered with Brad Burud and Kyle Lewis, your source for unfiltered Calgary Flames hockey talk. Keep it locked on flamesunfiltered.ca. Subscribe where you get all your podcasts to never miss an episode. Flames hockey talk every week, presented by Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.